Just to make a few comments on your video. I quote, you say, you have to put all constructs aside that you've created in order to illustrate the logic for your movement. Okay, so my response is the equality movement is not based on logic. It is based on common sense in what is best for all. There is a big difference. Logic is relative to and can be defended within any random personality complex. For instance, I find it logical that I should work to support myself in factory X, whereas common sense is common to all life and goes further than logic in that it is specific in application. It is common sense that I must work to support myself, but I will not compromise my principle of supporting all life by working in Factory X if Factory X produces weapons used to harm people. I will rather find an alternative method of supporting myself, as there is always an alternative. So we see the difference between logic and common sense here. Logic is a simple computer program, whereas common sense is what's best for all, and that is the principle, not logic. Second point, and I quote, and you have to ask yourself what matters to me. This is what you said in your video, and my response is, since the idea you have of who you are as separate is delusional, then what matters to you clearly does not consider anyone else. This is a typical robotic, fuck the world, I don't care about anyone else but myself kind of attitude. That is the essence of spitefulness within consciousness that must be eradicated. Moving on, I quote, then you have to swallow crow, understand potential disinformation. End quote. My response, clearly you are unwilling and or afraid of swallowing crow. Crow being a colloquial idiom meaning humiliation by admitting wrongness or having been proved wrong after taking a strong position. Therefore, I see this statement as an obvious confirmation of your own dishonesty. Moving on, I quote, Bernard using fear to motivate people, end quote. And my response, is it not your own fear that Bernard addresses in order to assist you to self-realization? It's not like Bernard is imposing fear on anyone. The fear is already here. It is you that is in ignorance of it. Moving on. I quote, there is an entirely different agenda going on. Speaking about equality. My response, what agenda are you referring to? What evidence do you have of this? How did you come to this conclusion? Or are you just throwing up random accusations to make yourself and your ego look good? Moving on. I quote, how much can you give up? How much are you willing to follow your own doctrine by not following it, and by allowing it to slip, in not needing it in order to stand for that which you believe to be standing for? End quote. And my response, here you are just attempting to put a value on one's abstinence so you can label it as a pass or fail in your personality program. Feeling guilty because you have not done your research. Self-pity is evident. Moving on, I quote, why in all your videos they are automatically labeled abusers? who labels them an enemy?" End quote. And my response: the outflows of an individual are very clear to see. Either you support equality or you hinder it. It is really rather simple. Either you abuse or you support, for or against. Therefore, I suggest pick your side and choose wisely, because this is the end of ego. And if there is ego within you, it is the end of you.